Welcome to Cord Cutting This Week, the podcast, episode number 9, recorded July 3rd, 2019. This is the podcast where Jess and I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting from the past week, give you our thoughts on them, and try to really dive deep into it for all of our readers. We'll love to know what you think. If you're listening to us, join us over at cordcuttersnews.com, leave a comment on the story, or if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, leave us a comment down below. We try to read all of them and respond to the ones we can, so we'll love to hear from you. But tomorrow's the 4th of July, and let's not just celebrate freedom from of America, but let's celebrate freedom from some cable with a great giveaway. We're giving away a Roku Ultra, a $100 Netflix gift card, and a $100 Hulu gift card to one lucky listener, reader out there. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. There's many ways to enter. You only need to do one, but the more you do, the more entries you get. Do things like subscribe to our newsletters, visit us on Facebook and Twitter, and tweet out a message, leave a comment. There's something easy here for everybody to do. So if you want to enter the giveaway, terms and conditions, rules, all that fun stuff in the show notes down below. I'll put a link to that, and on the podcast, I'll put a link to it in the podcast description. But Jess, how was your week?
Hey, it's been crazy so far. I know you and I have both been super busy this week.
Yeah, talk about typically 4th of July week is not a week that's very busy. I guess Sony decided that was a good week to drop a lot of news. Sling TV too.
So much.
So, yeah, kind of get into it. But real quick before we go, any plans for the 4th of July?
Not really. I think I'm going to have a pretty relaxing weekend. I'm packing up the last of my stuff, and my big plan for the weekend is choosing an internet provider for my apartment.
One of the most important decisions of your life is about to happen. Absolutely. The internet provider.
I have 15 options. You were asking me before. 15 choices.
Welcome to what hopefully become common around the country here in a few years.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my daughter. The local golf course does this party where they have inflatable bounce houses and barbecue and stuff. And then when it gets dark, a huge set of fireworks.
So fun.
So we've never gone to it. New town we're living in. We're going to try it out and see what it's like.
Cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah, let's dive into it because there really was a lot of news.
Yeah.
Start off with the biggest news story probably. PlayStation Vue is raising the price and adding the NHL network. So last week, I'm kind of kicking myself for not predicting this, even though I thought about it.
I think I called it in the podcast last week.
I think you did. I think Jess is the winner on this. But, so Sony was in negotiations with NBC, Discovery, AMC, and Turner Networks to keep them. They did successfully get all the deals done, but as a consequence, they agreed to basically pay more and have to raise the price by $5 across all their plans. So, it's kind of one of those things. You want everything? This is kind of a little bit of what happens. They did announce they're going to add the NHL network, and we reported this a few months ago. I know some people are reporting this as brand new news, but there's nothing here. The ACC network is being added in August, something we reported a while back on. Past that, last week they did bring the tennis channel down to a lower tier, add Baby First TV, and wasn't there one other channel, Jess, that got moved or changed?
There was, and now I can't think of it off the top of my head.
The esports network left the basic packages and went to the sports add-on. I think. BEN? However you say it.
Yeah, BEN Sports.
That's it. That was added, both the English one, and it was on PlayStation, if I remember right. They dropped it, and they brought it back. Both the English package, and I think in the sports add-on, you'll find the Spanish version of it, if you want the Spanish feed of it. So they're doing some stuff there to try to make it worth it. This idea that these packages would forever remain the same price, I think is unfair, to be honest with you. Because you look at cable, and the average cable provider is paying $5 to $12 a month more this year than they did last year. So in theory, you're saving the same amount of money with this price hike this year as you saved last year. So sure. I don't know. Are you? I guess I already know you're not shocked by this, but what do you think?
I am not. Yeah, it's interesting because they did just raise their price not too long ago, but like you said, yeah, I kind of called it last week, wondering if it had been just long enough that they were going ahead and justify another price hike. I still think it's pretty affordable. We're kind of getting to the point where most streaming services, it seems like they're in that $50 range. So the access package, right now the basic package is at $50, so it's kind of on par with most of the others, so I'm not super shocked by it.
Yeah, it seems like $40 to $50 is kind of sweet spot for Mini, Sling, and Philo being the kind of the
outliers.
The outliers, thank you. Now, you compare that to $107 for the typical average cable subscriber monthly fee, just for TV, not counting things like, internet and phone and home security and everything else they're trying to stack there.
Adds up quickly.
It's still a really good deal. You think about it, you can get PlayStation Vue, Netflix, and Hulu for less than $70 a month, compared to just basic cable for $107 a month.
Yeah, and I think that people a lot of times forget about all of the free services. If you're missing just one channel and that's really a deal breaker for you, look at some of the free services like Pluto and Zumo. I just emailed a reader who was saying that they couldn't find one that was giving them everything they wanted, and I suggested add Pluto. That's where you can get your MTV and then do your Hulu Live for live content and local channels.
Yeah, I think there's just so many options. And the truth is, and I warned about this, you're going to see a flood of doom and gloom stories happening. A little cord cutting. We're already seeing it. The vice president of communications for the American Cable Association, which I think they're now called the American Communications Association, because we got to get that word cable out of their name. He came out, look, PlayStation Vue is raising their price $5. Is cord cutting becoming more expensive than cable? I was like, hey, look, all these cable companies raising their price. Are they making cord cutting looking like a better deal? It's quite hilarious to see the mental gymnastics, we'll call this, that, people are trying to go through. Because, okay, it does stink, the price is going up, but if you don't like it, in 5 minutes you can cancel and be on YouTube, be on Hulu, be anywhere else if you think it's a better deal.
Absolutely.
Or just not have a live TV service. Or if it wasn't for my job, I would only pay for this during football season. Maybe basketball, depending on how far Michigan was getting in the tournament. There really is a way not to have to pay this and still watch the shows you want. Like you said, Pluto TV, the Roku channel, all these different places offer a ton of content, 100% free. Add an antenna for, I get 47 channels. It's a great deal out there. So just keep that in mind. Anything you want to add on this?
No, I don't think so. Once again, I called it.
You called it. I was laying in bed Sunday night, and I said, I really should tweet. I'd be like, prediction. They keep the networks, they raise their price. I said, no, probably people just say I'm doing clickbait. I said, but I really do think. I said, nah, I'll just wait and see what happens. And now I'm kicking myself.
I just get a feeling sometimes.
Yeah. Now, people are rushing out and saying Hulu will probably raise the price on this. One note on that, Hulu did already raise the price a couple months ago. I do not expect anyone else to be raising the price at this time, because YouTube, Hulu, Fubo, DirecTV, all of them have done their yearly price hike.
I think that Hulu is smart to stay where they're at right now because they're just a little bit lower than some of the others. Unless they add a ton of channels, I can't see them raising their price either.
And that's the downside here. People want channels. Remember, channels cost money. The more you add, the higher your bill's going to go. All right, let's move on to the next story. Speaking of Hulu.
Yeah, speaking of Hulu, they will reportedly soon be more popular than Sling TV, DirecTV Now, and YouTube, along with others. So the analyst firm UBS, I keep wanting to say USB because it's the tech girl in me. I keep
I had to fix it because I spelled it that way at one point in the story. Confession.
I'll keep an eye out for that. So UBS was looking at how the TV market is going to change in the next few years, and they predict that by 2023, our list of the most popular live streaming services is going to be changed up a little bit. So right now we have Sling TV in the lead as the most popular live TV streaming service. They're followed by Hulu, and then DirecTV Now and YouTube TV are kind of duking it out for that third spot. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, keep going.
So according to the projection by UBS, by 2023, they predict that Hulu will be in the lead at 35%, followed by YouTube TV at 21%, and then Sling and DirecTV duking it out for third place. And then the really interesting part that you pointed out in this blog post was that PS Vue, PlayStation Vue, was all the way at the bottom at only 1%.
Yeah, that surprises me and doesn't surprise me that PlayStation Vue is so low. I was surprised to see them DirecTV now, and only because AT&T has come out so aggressively and kind of said DirecTV now is not the future of AT&T.
Yeah, I'd like to know how they put this study together. Maybe I just need to read it a little more in depth.
From my understanding, it's a combination of surveys, it's a combination of market trends right now, and forecasting based off of previous growth and everything. Now, maybe they're just assuming that DirecTV now will be when it merged into Warner Media, just change the name, and it would still maintain that same kind of slot in it. One thing here is it's UBS basically saying PlayStation Vue they don't really have a lot of faith in.
Right.
That PlayStation Vue is not going to grow, and if anything, at 1% market share, it's going to shrink. Now, I won't lie, I have real issues with how Sony's handling PlayStation Vue. The name hurts them. I can't say this enough. The name, from somebody who sees the emails and the comments, the name hurts them.
Yes.
Number two, I don't think they're effectively marketing PlayStation Vue. When a good chunk of your marketing is about convincing people you don't need a PlayStation, you're burning marketing dollars that you should have been using to raise awareness of a service.
They don't even have social media accounts specifically for PlayStation Vue. That's what always irritated me.
And like when this price hike happened, they have a PlayStation Vue blog. Mm-hmm. But they didn't post about the price change in the PlayStation Vue blog. They posted it in the regular PlayStation blog along with the video game information, which again goes back to reinforcing this idea that you need a PlayStation because they're posting about it on the official PlayStation Twitter account and PlayStation blog. So that's my main issue. I don't hate PlayStation Vue. I think it's a great service.
I do too. I really wish they would do more for it.
Yeah. Sony could, with very minimal effort, even if they didn't want to change the name, creating its own social media account, separating it from the PlayStation gaming team would go a long ways.
I agree. We had a lengthy discussion about this on the Cord Cutting Tech Support Facebook group this week. We are all in agreement. We hate the name, love the service.
Yeah. So the other thing I was a little surprised about here was the growth of Hulu. Mm-hmm. And maybe I shouldn't be, because Hulu does, for any negative about Hulu and not having AMC and that kind of stuff, Hulu is effectively leveraging their subscriber base, which is at like 20-some million right now, of their on-demand to say, hey, you already have our on-demand service. When you count in that $6 or that $11 for commercial-free, whatever it is right now, and you subtract that off the live TV service fee, it's actually one of the cheaper options. And I've said this from day one. One thing that Hulu could really do to help them is market directly to their subscribers as, hey, get for $20 or was it $39 or whatever it is. It's $45 right now. Mm-hmm. So subtract the $5.99, it's $11 or $39. For $39, you can get all these channels on top of your current subscription. I think would be a very effective one. They haven't done that, but I think that idea is catching on with people that, hey, I already pay for Hulu. That means that Hulu is substantially now cheaper than PlayStation Vue, DirecTV, YouTube TV, etc.
Yeah.
So I see why they're being successful there.
Yes.
Sling TV at only 14%. I'm not sure what to think about that. Part of my mind wants to say I think that's going to be higher. I think the growth of antennas is helping Sling TV to be like, hey, if you have an antenna, we can save you a lot of money by not double paying for your locals. At the same time, I do understand that Sling TV is missing Fox News, it is missing the Big Ten Network, and some people are completely sold in this mind that it has to have locals in the streaming. I don't want to mess with an antenna. Okay, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay for it.
Right.
But I do understand your idea that you want it there. So I don't know, is that number low or high to you? Because I can't make up my mind.
I was surprised by how far Sling went down on the list. Not only did it move out of first place, but it moved all the way down to third, tied with DirecTV Now. And I'm wondering why that is. I think Sling is a great service, and I think the people that use it really like it. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure how they did this research and what caused them to... I mean, you already explained how they did it, but I'm interested to see why they moved it down so far.
Well, Sling's definitely seen a slowdown in growth with new competitors. They're not losing subscribers like DirecTV is, but their growth is definitely not what Hulu's seeing right now.
Right.
So I'll be interested. It'll be, I mean, of course, this is all predictions, but this is what Wall Street looks at, right? When they're going to grade Dish on their success of Sling TV, they're looking at people like USB to say, hey, where are they going? I've always been frustrated with it because you get companies like Roku is like, best quarter ever, set all kinds of records, this, that, revenue up, sales up, ad sales are skyrocketing. But, we thought they could have done a little bit better, so we're going to sell their stock off. So, that's kind of all those, tough things with all this. But UBS.
Yes.
I did it right there. They are a well-respected firm. This isn't like some fly-by-night group.
Right.
So, anything to add here before we keep moving?
I guess I just wanted to say I understand why Hulu is ahead. I think that they have two things going for them, and that's familiarity. People are used to using Hulu, so it's an easy transition for them to switch to the live TV. And I think also Hulu originals are great lately. Like Handmaid's Tale, especially, has been doing amazing, has been in the news nonstop since the new season started. So I think those are the two things that Hulu really has going for them.
Don't count Hulu out because they are really up in the game. Not just with their originals, because you're right, they're making some great originals. I've heard good things about the new Catch-22. It's on my list of things to watch when I get time. But they're also striking good deals for good content. Now that Disney owns the majority and Disney owns the majority of Fox content, wouldn't be surprised to see more and more content move onto Hulu from there. They do have a really good deal with NBC that's locked in for a while going forward, with a ton of NBC content and more. So don't disregard Hulu. They're also looking at an international rollout, according to Disney. There's been rumors of that floating around. So Hulu could be something to keep a close eye on.
Definitely.
All right. Well, if you're all set, let's move on to the next story. All right. Getting ready for a flood of anti-cord cutting stories. Now, we talked about this a little earlier, but this is something that just is almost hilarious at this point in the world of cord cutting. But let's have some fun breaking down some bad anti-cord cutting stories real quick. Raise your hand if in the last week you've seen a video or a story or something about how cord cutting is costing more than cable. I've seen about 20. Or my personal favorite, NBC or The Office is leaving Netflix in 2021. Cord cutting is dead today. Might as well go back to cable today. Because
that show ruined it.
Yeah, in a year and a half, a TV show made me leave Netflix. End of the world. Crawl under your desks, folks. Start crying. I understand. No, this is pretty laughable. Because like I talked about earlier, how often have you ever watched a show on a TV network? King of the Hill. Used to watch it every night on Adult Swim, fall into bed. I think in Central Time Zone it would come on at 8, so I think it was 9 Eastern, whatever. We would watch it, and that would be kind of what we would watch as we would get ready at the end of the day. Well, of course, they eventually dropped it from Adult Swim. Yeah. I think it's on Comedy Central now, which is a little weird, but okay. And just this idea that streaming is the only place that you would ever find yourself losing access to a show you enjoy is just stupid. And if you love that show that much, buy it. Just buy a DVD. I went and looked. eBay is selling brand new seasons of The Office for less than $4.
Yeah.
Or go on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, wherever you buy your stuff, and buy a season pass. That's what we did when King of the Hill was dropped from Netflix. We picked up like a season here, a season there, and now we own the entire series of King of the Hill. So, I don't know. Jess, what show is like you have to always have it at your fingertips?
I do really like The Office, and I mean, I'm not alone. It was the top streaming show or something like that on Netflix, or the most rewatched. I forget what the exact wording was that they used. But yeah, people love The Office, but like you said, buy it on iTunes, buy it on Vudu, keep it in your digital collection, and watch it anytime you want. Friends is another one like that for me. It's just kind of like my comfort food of shows. I love going back to it. So yeah, I like those ones a lot, but like you said, I'll just buy the seasons.
Be cautious of the temptation to say, I want that particular show, so I'm going to pay for a dedicated service for it. Or I'm going to, this is more, I think, with live TV. I want that show on that network, so I'm going to pay for an add-on or a higher package to get that one show. Because if you think about it, you're paying for it every single month versus just buying it one time up front. Yeah, maybe $5 or $10 a month this way versus $20 for a full season. But, you know, you're going to be paying for that every single month, and it adds up.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to know two things from our readers, or listeners, I guess I should say, first I have it. If you're listening to this, I want to know what show is like so important to you that you have to have access to it. Two, have you ever found yourself subscribing to something just for one show? From talking to our readers, I don't really think there are that many people who say, I need this one show and I'm going to pay an extra service for it. Now, I know it's a trap you can fall into, especially with live TV, is add-ons. But I'd love to know, have you ever caught yourself doing that and then said, never mind, I'm going to back off and not do it? Or have you ever found other, a workaround, like buying a season pass? Have you done that? Or buying DVDs? Have you done that? I'd love to hear from you.
The one thing I will say, though, the one exception I would say would be Game of Thrones. There were definitely a ton of people that were adding HBO Live to stay up to date because they wanted the experience of talking about it the next day.
And again, that's something that happens with cable, too. Mm-hmm. It's like when I hear people like, you want CBS All Access for Discovery, you might as well go back to cable. I'm like, you can't get Star Trek Discovery on cable.
Right. Yep, it's
what,
original.
What are you talking about, people? So, I'd love to know your stories, and if I could just pound one thing into people's head. One show is not killing cord cutting. Let's just be honest with ourselves here.
We will all survive without The Office on Netflix. It will be okay.
All right, let's get on to the next story.
Yeah, so Amazon is adding a new live TV section to the Fire TV. And with that, you can get content from DirecTV Now, PlayStation Vue, or any other live streaming services that you use. And this is really cool for a couple of reasons. I have an Amazon TV and love it, but one issue that I've had with it, and I know other people have too, is that it can be a little clunky whenever you're trying to get to what you want. So because it's Amazon, they're really promoting Amazon products, Amazon content on that main screen. So now there's a menu where you can easily get to your live TV streaming services, plus something I really love, there's one row that has your recently watched channels. And that's very cool, so that if there's one channel, like say that you watch Bravo all the time, that will be front and center. You can just click on it from the main menu and start watching. You'll also see another bar that has live sports and news, which is awesome too. So if your team is playing, it's going to be right there. You won't waste any time searching around trying to find what you want.
Yeah, I think Amazon's doing an effective job of leveraging their ability to control the user interface to make them stand out.
Yeah, definitely.
We talked about this, what was it, last week or the week before, where we kind of said there's not that big of a difference between Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. They pretty much all have the same apps, or they've announced that the apps are on their way. Mm-hmm. Doing things like this really helps Amazon stand out. It makes them look like a far better device compared to a Roku or Apple TV. No, Apple TV does some of this, but Amazon just really kind of upped the game, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that this kind of solves one problem that we hear sometimes of people switching from cable. They really like the ability to just turn on the TV and there's what they want right in front of them.
Yeah.
So you kind of get this with Amazon.
Yeah, so it's a curation. We hear it all the time, curation. The idea that how can we take all this information out there and put it into an easy to find spot. And Amazon, Roku's working on that too, Apple's working on that, and I think it's a great feature there. One thing I did notice that kind of snuck in with this update too, I don't know if you've noticed this, it used to be when you go down a row, it was like the app row. You used to have to scroll all the way to the right if you wanted to see all the apps. It would show you the first like 10 apps that you've last used. But let's say suddenly you want to get into, some other app that you don't often use. Now, when you go down, if you go to the left instead of the right, you will find that all app section there.
Oh, I did not notice that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so they made it a little bit easier. I'm assuming it happened with this update. Somebody let me know. Was this there before and I just missed it? Because I'll be honest, I don't typically use more than 10 apps on my Fire TV. Mm-hmm. But every now and then, when I am looking to go in and find some other app, I have to scroll all the way past all the other apps to find it. Now I don't. Now it's just right there.
That's perfect.
So props to Amazon. Amazon is definitely taking streaming extremely seriously. For all the talk that streaming is just a side project for Amazon, the Fire TV and all that in the end, it's a side project to their main business of selling you something. I mean, let's be honest, the Fire TV is about selling you something, selling you video and other content. But they're making their Fire TV unique and different very seriously. And I appreciate a company that's putting a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, I agree. I did get a little bit nervous when they started talking about wanting to be a mobile phone provider and wanting to do this, wanting to do that. I thought, okay, well, are you still going to be focusing on the things that you're doing really well? And I think they are. News
prediction for 2025 Amazon story. Amazon announces moon colonies. Amazon Prime members will be able to buy a house on the moon. No,
yeah, you can get 2-day shipping on your house to the moon.
Yeah, Amazon robots will come, pick up your stuff, put it in a crate, shoot you in space. You can live in an Amazon-run community where only Amazon products are sold. No Walmart allowed. I mean, you're going to be free from...
But you can get Whole Foods because they own that now.
Yeah, Whole Foods and Amazon's to-go stores are all you're going to find. Everything else has to be delivered. Sorry.
Yes.
Couldn't resist that. But there's somebody in the basement at Amazon right now like, we could probably just make a town somewhere. What state's in debt? Could we buy California?
Yes.
They're in debt right now. We could buy it, own it, kick Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, all that out, and we'll be good.
I truly would not be surprised to hear that happen.
I don't know. I bet that idea has popped up. I mean, Walt Disney had that idea. That was supposed to be Epcot. Was going to be a city run by Disney. So, I don't know. I'm having too much fun with this. I probably should get moving.
It's been a long week already. We're a little slap happy at this point. Things are just...
But, let us know. Would you live in an Amazon-run community? Anything you want to add to this story?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a good move on Amazon's part. Like you said, it really sets them apart. I think it was smart.
One note, it is rolling out in stages, this new feature. It's on, I think about half of my devices have it. And just because I had some people email like, hey, I have two of the same model Fire TV stick. One has it, one doesn't. That's not unusual. They're rolling it out probably by serial number or device ID number, whatever they're using. And so in the next week or two, it should be on all of them. So hang in there because it's coming, and it's just not there yet. All right, let's move on to the next story. So we do our quarterly survey, and this year we surveyed over 3,000 of our readers, which, considering most political polls do less than 1,000, is pretty good. But we asked them, what do you think of the average... Hold on, Jess, could you read that real quick?
Sorry, let me pull this up real quick.
Here, I got it. Sorry.
Okay.
I apologize if that cough came through. We asked over 3,000 of our readers, what device do you plan to buy if you plan to buy? 75% of our readers said they do not plan to buy a new device. But of the ones that did, the vast majority said Roku. To the point that more people plan to buy a Roku than plan to buy a Fire TV, Apple TV, NVIDIA Shield, or some other device combined. That's pretty dang impressive, I have to say. When you look at that, this kind of is supported by other recent reports that show that inside the United States, which over 90% of the people who answered our survey lived inside the United States, Roku is just dominating. I know Amazon we have more accounts out there. Amazon also sells in different parts of the world. They're looking at a worldwide market, and we're looking at a U.S.-based market here. And it doesn't surprise me, and it does surprise me that it's so big. It doesn't surprise me that Roku is way out in the lead with more people playing it by Roku. It does surprise me that it's just head and shoulders above everybody else right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of our readers express to us pretty frequently, especially on that cord-cutting tech support group. I think a lot of them are always talking about how much they love their Roku. I think that gets suggested to other people more often than most other devices, so I'm not really surprised to see it in the lead.
Yeah, there's something about dirt cheap and dirt simple.
Yeah.
Rokus are very cheap. They last. Of the 50 Rokus I've ever had, I've only had one ever go bad. And that was the one I took traveling, and I think it just got damaged in the backpack or something.
Sure.
And then there's something to say there about you turn it on, and it's just a super simple, easy-to-use interface. Mm-hmm. And when I was looking at the different comments, not just on our website, but on the story that showed that that Roku was dominating the market overall, when I read those stories, it seemed pretty clear that a lot of people were saying the same thing. It's cheap, it just works, and it's so simple that my daughter could use it, my parents can use it, kind of situation.
Yeah, I've noticed too on the tech support group, we have a lot of older people, and they're coming in saying, I've had cable all my life, and now I'm switching, and I'm completely lost. And that's especially when I see people recommending a Roku. It's just very easy.
And that's not to say there's something wrong with the Fire TV or Apple TV, though I do hate the Apple TV remote. Yes. But the reality is, it seems like Roku's found a sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And this ability to sell them cheap, get them in so many markets, is allowing them to sell a lot of subscriptions, sell them a lot of ads. Now, you do not need a subscription for Roku. Tech support's free. I know there's people out there trying to convince you need to pay for tech support for Roku. But the reality is that's just not how this works. When we say subscriptions, Roku, if you subscribe to something through Roku, they get a tiny cut, like a referral fee off of that. So I'm not surprised by this, and I'm also interested to see how the market looks a year from now, because Amazon is catching up. Amazon's growing, Apple's falling a little bit. More importantly, though, smart TVs are growing, and I wonder how much of that is Roku domination of the smart TV market. 1 in 3 smart TVs are Roku now, if that's bleeding over into people saying they're getting a Roku.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. My question for you, do you think that any of these companies will come out with a new streaming device that's so much more impressive than the competition that they'll take the lead?
At this point, you're pedaling so far upstream right now. We've seen, it's kind of like iPhone and Android, right? You saw Windows try to get into it and different companies try to get into it. I think you're just kind of going uphill so hard right now with Roku just saying, here is our user interface. TV manufacturers use it. You can do whatever you want with it within their limitations.
Right.
It's the Android model. It's Android. I mean, for all the talk of how successful iPhones are, when you look at the big picture of all the Android phones together, Android's just smashing Apple in the number of devices. And I know somebody's going to comment, Apple really controls the most market. If you look at like an iPhone versus like a Moto phone, yes. But when you look at all of Android combined worldwide versus all of Apple combined worldwide, I think there's no competition. I think that's what Roku's doing here. They want to be the Google Android of smart TVs.
Yeah.
So to bring a competitor in right now will be difficult. The only one that I think really has a shot at it, and they're losing market share right now, is Android TV. Now, Android TV has actually found a very profitable, successful segment with the growth of Android TV powered cable boxes around the world and in the United States. But Android TV powered set-top boxes has kind of stalled out, I think, at least amongst our readers. I'm sure Google would say, no, we're doing fine. And I'm sure you're doing fine, but you're not Apple, you're not Roku, you're not the Fire TV.
Right, and they're not doing anything quite newsworthy enough for us to be talking about them a whole lot.
The company that I think needs to be careful is Apple. They're putting Apple's products on other devices. Roku, Fire TV, you're going to get support with the Apple TV app layer. Samsung TVs, and I think, was it Vizio got the cast ability now, and some others are on the way, With that happening, why buy a, let's be honest, an overpriced Apple device?
Right.
If all you want to do is stream. So
yeah, all very good points.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens, where it goes, and I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, not surprised. Like I said, I've heard readers talk about Roku more than anything else. I think it is very simple to use. I think even if other companies continue making new things, people are so used to the Roku now that they're not going anywhere. And I do agree. I think the Apple TV is in trouble a little bit, my beloved Apple. I do like my Apple TV, but it's actually not mine, it's my family's. So whenever I move, I will not be using the Apple TV anymore unless I get a new one.
We'll have to send you a review device.
Without the remote are over for a while.
We'll send you a review device so you have one on hand. No, I think it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I'd love to know what everybody thinks. Where do you think this is going to be a year from now? Leave us a comment. Let us know.
Yeah.
All right, Jess, you want to take the next story?
Yeah, let's do the next one. So Sling TV. I have a whole lot to say about Sling TV this week. Luke knows this because of the 50-something emails that we have sent back and forth about Sling TV in the last 2 days. Sling TV is offering a new deal called the Total TV deal with 7 add-ons and Cloud DVR add-on. And all this is for just $20 a month. So for $20, in addition to your Sling Orange or Sling Blue package, for $20 a month extra, you'll be getting the Sports Extra, Kids Extra, News Extra, Lifestyle Extra, Heartland, Hollywood, Comedy, and 50 hours of Cloud DVR storage.
Honestly, impressive deal. Did you figure out the exact cost per channel on that?
I did, yeah. Let me pull up the post that I wrote about it the other day. I broke down the cost per channel.
While you do that, it's very interesting. Effectively, Sling just did a price cut if you're interested in getting this bundle. Yeah, it's an additional $20, but it gives you so much content that now it's basically Sling's like, hey, if you want to try to have a bundle that competes with the Hulus and the DirecTV Nows and the PlayStation Views, you can do that by getting this bundle on top of a Sling or Orange or Blue. And, honestly, it's a really good deal. Did you find that post?
I did, yeah. So first, before I get into that, I just wanted to note that even with these extras, there is a difference between the Sling Orange and the Sling Blue. So whenever you add an extra onto your Sling Orange package, you'll be getting different channels than if you add it onto your Sling Blue package. So that's why the channel difference and the price difference is a little bit different whenever I go over these. So with the Sling Orange package plus the Total TV deal, you will pay $45 per month for 96 channels, so you'll be paying 47 cents per channel. With the Sling Blue plus Total TV deal, you'll pay $45 a month for 107 channels, bringing the cost to 42 cents per channel.
Pretty darn good. How did the other network or other services break down cost per channel?
Well, YouTube TV has 85 channels for $50 a month or 58 cents per channel. YouTube with live TV gives you 67 channels for $45, so 67 cents per channel. DirecTV Now is 54 channels for $50, so 93 cents per channel. And then PlayStation Vue, who just increased their price by $5, they have 51 channels for $50 or 98 cents per channel. So Sling TV is far below all of those with comparable channels.
Yeah, again, though, none of that means anything if it doesn't offer you the channels you need or want.
Yes.
But it is kind of interesting to see. It's effectively a price cut for Sling TV.
Yes.
Now, it's more upfront, but you get more from it.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how one of the biggest issues people have with Sling TV is that they don't get their local channels, but Sling TV is meant to be paired with an antenna, which is how you would get your local channels.
And nothing's good as on local channels. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, folks. I do understand there's a lot of good content there. Yeah, so keep an eye on it. The downside is the Sports Extra package as a standalone is now $10 for the Orange.
Yeah.
For all the talk of the price hike, this is the first price hike on the Sling's sports package of any add-on, really, I think, right? Well, no, I think the Blue Sports is went up to $10 at some point.
Yeah, and then the premium channels have changed a bit, but that doesn't affect this deal.
But in 3 years, they've kept that price at the same. And in that time, they added the NHL Network, MLB Network, NBA TV, and in the Blue, the NFL Network.
Yes.
Which is a lot of additional content to bring in and then expect them never to raise the price. It just does not work that way, to be honest with you.
But if you're thinking about doing this, make sure that you go in and just compare the Sling Orange and Sling Blue to make sure that you're getting the channels that you want out of this.
Definitely. But, hopefully, if they can keep putting pressure on other companies out there, it's good. I mean, I love the option. Of course, I live in an area where over there reception is pretty good. Sometimes the NBC can be a little iffy depending on what's happening, but other than that, nothing good's on NBC. I think we can all agree on that.
That's not true. We're just kidding.
I'm kidding. But I think for the people who live in an area where that's an option, why pay for channels that you can get for free is a pretty good argument there.
One thing that I do want to say about the Sling TV deal, and this has been causing me so many headaches in the last 2 days, and I know a lot of you are frustrated about it too, who are listening in. There was some issue with Sling TV that whenever people were getting this total TV deal, it was meant to come with this 50-hour DVR. Somehow there was some kind of miscommunication with Sling, and people who were getting the deal were actually losing their DVR capabilities, and they were losing their content, and it was a mess. So Luke told me that he already went over this in his daily video, but if you haven't listened to that yet, the issue has been resolved. So people who are now signing up for this total TV deal should not have a problem. If you had already signed up and you have a problem with it, Sling TV is resolving it, and they are reaching out to everyone individually.
Yeah, so it's been resolved, and thank you for everybody who reached out and let us know about it, because without you telling us, sometimes we wouldn't know that.
It was blog comments and emails that helped us get that figured out.
And what it sounded like, if you had the DVR option and you upgraded the total TV package, instead of adding it, something in the system removed the DVR for some reason, and that's basically what happened. Sling said, we identified the problem, we fixed it. So these things happen, right? Just the reality of the situation. But thanks everybody for the tip. And again, if you ever find a great cord cutting deal, or you find a great cord cutting news story like this, or anything, send us an email. The millions of readers here are some of our best ways to find out about what's happening in the world of cord cutting. So we appreciate everybody who emailed us, left a comment, sent a tweet, anything. We appreciate Facebook messages, all that kind of stuff.
All of it. We read it all.
All right. Jess, that last story about Dish and the lawsuits, we actually covered that one already.
Oh yeah, we did.
So we can skip that, but we asked for some questions in our Facebook group. If you're not a member of the our cord cutting tech support group on Facebook, join, because 55,000 or something like that, 56,000 people there answering cord cutting related questions, and we often take questions from there to answer here. So Jess found some questions that we're going to answer.
Yes, I have them saved on my phone, so pardon me while I'm looking down at my phone. Our first question is, my internet bill is going up now that the promotional period is up. I'm shopping around for a new internet provider. What speed do I need for streaming, using a smartphone in my house, etc.?
I actually had a really good opportunity earlier this year to talk to a senior executive, we'll call it, at a major streaming service, one of those big three. I'll let you assume which one of those big three it is. I talked to him about this, and we had a great conversation for about an hour, and we covered many topics, but one of them was like, what internet speed do you really need for your service? And he told me, point blank, you really need at least 20 to get reliable, consistent streaming on multiple devices. So if you want to do 2 devices, you should probably have 20, 25 down minimum. Now, he did clarify that once you get over 100, if all you're doing is streaming Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, you're not going to see a big return on that once you get over 100 down. Especially considering there's caps, right? Well, if you were running 50 different streams of Netflix, maybe then, but you can't do that anyways unless you're paying for multiple Netflix subscriptions. So I would say a minimum gold standard of 20, 25 down, and go up from there. Now, I know some places don't go below 50 or 100 down anymore, but I would start low once you're over that, because you can always go up in speed. Cable companies would be happy to take more money from you.
Sure.
But the idea of like, hey, I signed up for a gigabit service and now I want to downgrade, they're not going to do that. The one thing to be careful about is the agent on the phone will try to sell you the most expensive internet plan they can get. And I've even heard of cord cutters being talked into business class internet for cord cutting because they were told they would need that.
Oh, especially if you work from home, they will track everything.
So be careful about that there. That the fear of having being oversold, because you can always go up. You can always upgrade. Same with the unlimited internet. I wouldn't necessarily go get unlimited internet if you're a place with a data cap, because if you most of them, make sure yours does, but most of them offer like a grace period where like, hey, the first 2 times you go over your data cap, will give you a warning. You'll be able to use a credit, and then if it happens again, you'll get billed.
That was my next question. Is there a data cap that you would recommend being above?
A terabyte, you can get it, but you can always start off. I start off with a 250 gigabyte data cap, and we found a way to make it work back when CenturyLink had that data cap. But what I found is you can always add the unlimited data at a later date if you discover you need it. And there's many things you can do. You know, making sure to turn off the stream when you're not actually watching it is a big thing. But yeah, of course, if you can get an internet option, I think data caps are going to be a thing of the past in a few years. I think with 5G and internet from space and all these different places, Viper coming out with data cap free internet, you know, that's an option. If you live in an AT&T market with a data cap, look at a reseller like Toast.net, because they sell the same internet with no data cap and no device rentals. So keep that in mind.
All right, I have one more question from our readers. I want to cut cable, but I don't want to lose local channels for news and sports. Specifically, what are my options?
Get an antenna. That'll be the first place I start with. Is a antenna is, for the vast majority of Americans, is the best way to go. Now, if that's not an option for whatever reason, now remember one thing: an HOA cannot legally ban you from having an antenna on your home. The FCC has passed laws, or rules are effectively laws, that mandate that HOAs have to allow you to have an antenna.
That's really interesting. I've heard a couple of people complain about that.
Now, apartment complexes are a little different because it has to be a dwelling that you own. So like your house, you own that. It's not connected. It's not a common space. An apartment building is, the roof of it is a common space. So that doesn't necessarily apply. But you can always look at streaming. Hulu, PlayStation Vue, DirecTV Now, etc. offer locals. Check them out, see if they offer what you want. That's what I would recommend.
Yep.
And really, if you're not caring about sports, you just want that one channel or that one show, right? I want the new what's that show? I always want to call it the No Whammy Show. Press Your Luck on ABC.
Yes, love it.
If that's all you want, see if it's on Hulu. Buy a season pass. Don't be paying for a subscription if all you want is Days of Your Life or something. Wherever, I don't even know if that one's still running. I think that's the one my mom watched when I was a kid.
I did just see that Young and the Restless is still on CBS All Access.
I'm getting old. But, yeah, so know what you really want. Do you really want the channel? Do you want the show? If you want the channel, antenna, and then look at the different streaming services out there for backup options. All right, anything else we should cover, Jess?
I don't think so. I think we got it all.
All right, let's take a look here at what we're watching. And I'm going first because I'm not letting you steal mine.
Sure. Okay.
Stranger Things is live. What? You can watch Stranger Things now.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I actually had this whole plan to drink the last new Coke I got today during the Q&A. Unfortunately, we're not doing it to celebrate Stranger Things. But yeah, new Coke. Actually, I've seen that Coke to celebrate they're like all in on Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. They're putting vending machines, new Coke vending machines in some popular places.
What?
I know it would have been a lot cheaper than buying that Stranger Things collector's edition Coke set that I paid for.
Yeah, how much did you pay for that?
$20 to get 4 cans, basically. 2 cans of new Coke, 2 cans of regular Coke and Stranger Things. But I've always wanted to know what new Coke tasted like, because my mom, I was a kid, my mom was very anti-Coke. Any pop was not allowed.
And you drank on the live stream. You did it for the people.
I know, and it wasn't too bad when it was ice cold, but the moment it started getting a little bit warm, after about 10 minutes, it was like, ugh. But I had to write like college papers and stuff about it, because it's like whenever you take like a marketing class or like a business class, new Coke seems to be at least where I went to college, like one of the the case studies you have to like study.
You're funny.
So I wrote 2 papers. I always remember thinking, like, what did it taste like? Was it really as bad? And yeah, it's not good.
And you're lucky. I was writing papers about Enron, and you got to write about New Coke.
New Coke, Enron was happening at about that time when I was in college. So, or it was not quite happened when I think I took all those classes. So, but I worked. I went to college. I went to community college, and then I worked for many years. Then I went back to college. So I'm kind of a weird case.
Yeah, so we might have been there around the same time.
Could have been. So what are you going to be watching now that I stole Stranger Things?
Well, that's okay because I had a different one this time.
Okay.
My recommendation is that the new season of Big Brother is on CBS All Access. And I'm such a sucker for bad reality TV, so I'm loving Big Brother.
I watched one season way back in the day, and I can't remember. I was at somebody's house watching it, and had the plane that went around with like banners.
Yes.
To say things to them, and all I can like, is that really somebody flying that, or is there somebody, or is it like a CBS executive being like, wouldn't it be funny if XYZ happened?
I don't know. I wonder about stuff like that, but I am willing to suspend belief and reality to watch these shows because I love them. They're terrible. I can't get enough. They also have a robot named Zingbot who comes in and makes fun of everybody in the house. I think you would appreciate it. It's pretty funny.
Zingbot, huh?
Zingbot. So, Big Brother's on CBS All Access, and we just posted that CBS is having a deal right now for 1 month of free access to CBS. And it expires on July 4th at 11:59 p.m.
Yeah, so this is a reason why you never wait to listen to the podcast. And
yeah.
If you did, shame on you because you just missed out on a great deal. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
Please listen to us whenever you can. But no. Lots of great content out there. Check it out. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you watch, what you suggest, because I am going to be coming up on needing something to watch new if I finish what I'm going through now before Last Chance U comes out.
Yeah.
So leave us a comment. I'll love to hear from you. But that's it for today. Have a fantastic 4th of July. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on multiple different podcasting services. TuneIn, Apple Podcasts. I think we're on, I don't know if there's something you want us on and we're not on it, leave us a comment. Let me know about it. And don't forget to watch us on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate your help. So we'll see you next week. I'll be back tomorrow on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreCarsNews, with our daily updates. Take care, everybody.